sport?
Well, still coming from the studio live from Rockville City, city on the hill. We are happy to have another member of the double team that just returned from Liberia, West Africa on a mission trip, and on that team we were opportune, privileged, blessed, and humbled to have one of our good friends on the team. So, sir, can we get to know you tonight? Your name, where you from, and what you do?
My name is Eric Gibson, and I live in Rockwall, and that's just about 20 miles east of Dallas, Rockwall, Texas. And again, like some of the other, you may have heard a few of the other guys from our team, but we work at a company named K.E. Andrews and Company, and our company has been involved with the AAA Academy of building that new school in Bonga and getting it up and running. And so we were one of the first teams to be able to actually do the dedication for that school and go out and kind of see what was going on. So, like I said, through our company that we work for, that Mark Andrews, is our CEO, and so through him and another member of our team, Tom Ledbetter, that is how the original connection that Tom made with you down in Waco, and that brought you here to actually to us, and to the wall, and so through him and just relationships, that's how we got connected with Change Agent. Yeah, it was. I would tell people when I first got back. There's so many things that we live in a culture and just our paradigm that we live with this just mindset that we are intellectual, that we come from this Greek background, and so in America, we're big on education and the mind and intellect, but there's so many things that we see on TV, you've seen through media and internet, and you've read about and you've watched, and we understand these different things going on around the world, and in a click of a button, I can look at pictures of Liberia, or I can look at things going on in Africa and the water and disease and all these things. But until your feet have hit the ground on African soil and you're walking, does it actually become your reality? And so that was one of the greatest things, because this was my first mission trip with my wife that we got to take, and so it was just one of those moments in life where things, it's almost like a blur while you're there because there's so much going on. But when you get back, and then it really sinks in, that reality of this isn't something that I can just see, but it's something in my heart that's been stirred.
Wow.
Yeah, it definitely changed. Like I was just saying, just that mindset, my whole mindset and paradigm just shifted because it's when you meet all the relationships I had, the joy, that was probably one of the greatest experiences, just being able to sit down and have conversations, and to have these heart-to-heart connections with these leaders within the Change Agent Network, and it's just really unique. A lot of the guys I'm 27 years old, and a lot of the guys you see, mid-late 20s to early 30s, that you see actually leading, and we don't see that as much here in America, and guys actually looking beyond themselves, because we live in this culture that it's all about me and what I can achieve and what I can have success, and we have all the tools to get us there, right? We can go to school, through high school and all that stuff. We have the opportunity to go to college, and by my own strength and will, I have every tool necessary for me to do whatever I want in life, right? We call it the American dream. But to see that here in this focus of what we typically see as it being about us and about me is what everybody, our culture tells us. It's how can I have success in life? And then you go across the world and you see guys the same age sitting down with guys my same age, and all they're concerned about is how they can walk it out to truly be a servant. How how can my life benefit a next generation? How can my life actually make a an impact that lasts well beyond these years that I'll be walking in, which is such a short window. The team, the leadership team was probably had the greatest impact on me personally. Just hearing, we had the opportunity several nights that we would come in and kind of call it a checkout, that after our day, that our days were really packed, that we were traveling in different places and just all sorts of different things throughout the day, and we were going a lot and traveling a lot, and then we'd come back, we'd go to Village and come back, or go see this or that. But every evening we got to sit down for several evenings and kind of had a check out and just kind of this reflection time of that day. And then later in those nights, sometimes we had a lot of the leaders come in and actually share their testimony, share their story of what's happened in their life. And that probably made one of the greatest impacts on me. And so seeing them and just that servant leadership is really the heart of all the leaders there, and just what Change Agent has built and established. And then you see that implemented into that culture, into the culture of Change Agent. You don't see it. It's not a top-down kind of, we see here, you know, I run a business, CEO, I'm the main man, I'm going to be up here, and then I'm going to delegate and just kind of oversee, and y'all are here to serve me. But it was almost like that got flipped upside down, that these leaders are here to be the lowest and to serve, to lift others up, to see a culture built that way. Just go. Just don't. If you get the opportunity to go, take it. That it's not one of those things. You know, a lot of times we sit down, we're like, well, let me pray about it, and is this me? Kind of weigh. If you get the opportunity and you feel that it's all about the heart. We've talked about there, over in Liberia, that the heart is really not the issue. They're lacking in what we would call the basic needs, and they don't have the running water and just basic needs, and they're behind maybe when it comes to opportunities and the just the things we take for granted. That's what they're a little bit behind in, but where I feel like we're behind is where they're leading us, and that's the issue of the heart, and just this a heart that we have all the tools, we have everything intellectually, and that's where they lack, and money is that solves that issue really fast, but it seems like our hearts are sometimes harder here because we have everything. And so if you feel that stirring in your heart, you feel that prick from the Lord to just go and allow your life to be transformed, not just change, but actually to see transformation take place in your life. Because I know I came back and there was a transformation that took place. And so that's not something that I could write a check and send you a check, and there'd be no transformation. There may be some help there, but when you put your feet on the ground, I can't put a dollar amount on my life being transformed, and so I just want to say thank you.
All right, we still talking about mission, still talking about Liberia, still talking about US, still talking about making a difference tonight, and we are privileged tonight, honored to have one of our team members here too, from Double Team from Rockwell City, Texas. And so can we get to know your name tonight, where you're from and what you do?
Lily Ledbetter, Lily like the flower. Just kidding. From Rockwell, Texas. I am multi-talented. I am an HR manager, a fitness instructor, and a ministry leader.
Great. Now, how did you get involved with the Change Agent Network that you went with to Liberia on recently? I heard on a mission trip or something?
I got involved because God put you on our paths. it is a long story, of course, but with us being in Waco that very weekend, you happened to be there for the first time, and we wouldn't have been there had it not been for a circumstance in our family. That's how we got connected to you.
Okay. So what did you take away from your trip to Liberia?
Oh my
One
gosh.
or two items, just one or two.
Well, there's a lot of things like, so I've traveled a lot, I've been to a lot of countries, and I've been to a lot of third world countries as well, and so I've seen a lot of the world, and it wasn't so much the poverty that struck me, which it was very severe, and unlike other places, the poverty in Liberia is widespread, it's everywhere, there's really no pockets of prosperity, but what touched me, for me, my personal story is really seeing the love of God for his children. And that's what touched me. There were two things. It was seeing the leadership and the sacrifice that the leadership makes on a daily basis, from, having to take that $100 that you gave to, I don't recall his name, but the elderly man, and he couldn't feed himself with it. He had to feed the flowers, and protect the land, protect this land, because it was, you guys were planning for the future, establishing a hope center. And so to see that kind of sacrifice was the number one, impacted me a lot. And then the second thing was seeing God's love for his little children, and even as sick and as fragile. And I think about Princess and just her blindness and her condition and her sicknesses and all of that, and yet how God just wanted to touch her. And so for me, that was really significant. Interesting. So again, because we've traveled a lot, my perspective has changed with every mission trip, and every mission trip is special in its own way. But my perspective with this one, everyone has said it, of course, but when I was watching the video, actually the video where it recaps where you guys first had water, fresh water,
For the first
and
time,
yes, and I'm watching that thinking, wow, they're so excited, it's water.
Yeah.
But then you take a moment and you go, oh my gosh, they've never had clean water. So, things like that where it just makes you go, wow, we're so thankful to have what we have. And yeah, just seeing God move in a place like Liberia to his humble servants, with so little and able to do so much. That's amazing. So of course I think the leadership is amazing. With as little resources you guys have, you've been very faithful with the little. You, sir, have been very faithful, and it trickles down. Leadership trickles down, and so I have seen how your leaders have learned from you, and they're really taking charge and taking accountability and making the sacrifices that they need to make to bring a better Liberia to the future generation. So from a leadership standpoint, I think they are pretty outstanding. Change Agent Network, just to think about how this started in a refugee camp with a mouse. That's, move it forward, back, side to the side, next.
All right.
And that started, this Change Agent Network. Like, that is outstanding. Only God can do something like that, to take a mouse and a screen, a monitor, and turn it into the AAA Academy and the university and everything that's going on. So I'm very impressed. You have stewarded the gifts and the resources that God has given you very well.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. We're humbled to hear that, and we're happy to be a very little part of what God is doing and what the people of Liberia are trying to accomplish for themselves. So any closing statement from you?
Absolutely. Eat the caterpillars. Delicious.
That are alive and in
The
bed.
caterpillars, right?
But really though, Liberia, there is so much to be a part of. It's a great time. Yes, it just came out of this civil war where everything is in ruins. A generation was wiped out, and it's 50% of the population is 18 years or younger. And yes, it's in extreme ruins and poverty, but because of that, there's such great opportunities to make a difference, to actually go and be a part of something really amazing, be fruitful, something that's gonna last a lifetime. So this will change your life.
What you do, where you from, and what's going on here tonight?
My name's Tom Ledbetter. I'm multifaceted. I have yet figured out what I do yet, but I work for Katie Andrews, and we are ministry leaders in the city, and then we do missions just wherever the Lord calls us to go. So, and I think did I mention we live in Rockwall? Well, no, it was not on our radar. We actually had a death in the family and went down to administrate the funeral, and ended up at a church service Sunday morning, and ran into you, and just kind of things took over sovereignly, and it just led us, circumstances and opportunities led us to Liberia, and we just said yes to it. This is the first trip that we've actually gone on where we've actually taken people with us, and the opportunity for us this year was magnificent in the sense that coming out of a marketplace environment and seeing people that had never been on a mission trip get to go and get to see what missions really is about. Outside of a church, outside of a normal church trip. So I think that was the greatest thing for me, was being able to see people from our culture that had never been in a third world country. A lot of them had not been out of the country, and get to see them go to Liberia and see them change on the way back was phenomenal. So I think that's what was the greatest thing for me. Yeah. Each country's different, but I think Liberia is a country that will forever mark me for just the sovereignty I think that God has for that nation, and the people, how humble they are, how willing they are to put one foot in front of the other. Even if someone doesn't know how to do something, they just want an opportunity, and to see the meekness and the humility that they walk in, and the love that they have for one another. I was just really marked by the leadership there, and your leadership. That is, a lot of them they're not paid. They're just there to serve, and the humility that your leaders have. I was meditating on that, and I really felt like I was looking at a modern day Paul that talks about the forsaking all for the gospel, and I see that in your leaders. I see that in their eyes, and I really see every leader that's really desire is to disciple a nation. Right. And so I took that back and somewhat just tried to chew on that and pass that on to our group here. We really believe that as you go to nations, you can take things that you learn from those nations, bring them back and give them to your people. And what better attribute to give your people? And I'll say this: out of every nation that I've been to, I've not seen the humility that I saw in Liberia. I would be a Jonah if I did not go back to Liberia. So yeah, we will definitely be going back, and we have great expectations for the country. We have great expectations for Change Agent. We have great expectations for our relationships that we have now, but that are coming. Just because of the fact that we know God has sovereignly chose this nation, and to be a bridge from Rockwall, and we see the relationships that are coming in. When you look at every relationship that's a part of this, none of them chose this at all. It fell into everyone's lap. They knew it was God, and they've said yes to it. And so I see God just continuing to do what He's doing. And so yeah, we will definitely be going back. We'll definitely be taking more and more teams out of our office, out of the city, and we have decided, to agree with God to adopt Liberia. So